Hey, this is Joe Cook. For the past 15 years, Ragamuffin Archive has been on a mission to preserve and share rare and unreleased recordings from Rich Mullins and a Ragamuffin band, as well as the artists who worked with them or were influenced by them. And now, I want to invite you to join me for Ragamuffin Archive Revisited, a weekly podcast where we dig into our archives and beyond to share great music and moments that you may have missed. Each week, we take a deep dive through Ragamuffin history to share background info on some of your favorite songs and iconic performances. And there's a good chance that you'll discover new artists or maybe even a Rich Mullins recording that you've never heard before. It's Ragamuffin Archive Revisited, streaming on Mixcloud with the Mixcloud app or at mixcloud.com/ragamuffinarchive or on our website at ragamuffinarchive.com. And join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for a listening party by clicking the Live tab on our homepage.
Hey guys, this is Eric Hauk. I'm really honored and excited to share with you about Beggarman Ministries. This is a transition home that we run in Wichita, Kansas, and the goal of our house is to provide a safe place for men to get back up. We have men who have been a part of our program that are coming out of rehab or prison, jail, homelessness, and we want to be a safe place that tells them through actions and words that there is hope and there is a possibility of restoration through healthy community and through Christ. We seek to provide jobs and transportation and empower them to get back up. If you want to support us or find out more about what we're doing, we could use lots of help because we're learning what we're doing as we go. You can check out our website at www.beggarmanministries.org. Continue to pray for us. We need help, but we are thankful that we can provide a safe place to offer hope to those who are in need. Thanks for listening.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts. They do not necessarily reflect those of Ragamuffin Archive, our team members, or our supporters.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Eric and
Sprinkle.
Hey, we are here for our podcast. It's great that you could join us wherever you are, whether you are, let's see, what do people do when they're podcasting? Walking, treadmilling,
Something like that.
taking a dump,
Maybe.
driving, drawing. My wife likes to listen to podcasts while she does art.
While
stuff.
she arts.
She arts, yes.
Yes. It's like doing the maths.
Like doing the maths, yeah, ugh. No, not me. I don't, full disclosure, I don't really listen to podcasts.
Oh, man.
Do you? Are you a podcast listener?
I listen to podcasts all the time. In fact, so much so that there was a joke with a boss today at work.
About a podcast?
She came into my office and she goes, "What are you listening to?" And I go, "A podcast." And she goes, "Oh, what's it about?" And I said, "Murder."
Oh, whoa.
Because I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts.
Oh,
it makes me feel better about my own life. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Have you seen those ones where they talk about murder and put on makeup at the same time? I don't know if that's a podcast, but that's what my wife listens to sometimes. It's hilarious.
Weird.
They're putting on makeup and doing their whole face, and then the whole time they're talking about these people that are serial killers and the stories of
true
crime or whatever.
I do not put on makeup when I listen to murder shows.
That's probably, I don't know. I mean, it might make you sleep better if you
it might
put makeup on while you listen to murder mysteries at work. I can see some purple hue above your eyelashes, man.
Well, if I go, I'm just going to get a tattoo because I don't want to have to mess with that every day.
There you go.
So
That's
I'll just
true.
get my
I know a
eye
tattoo
makeup
artist.
tattooed on.
There you go. Okay. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to our podcast. The other funny thing.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by those of us with ADHD who don't focus. But the other thing about me, not only do I not listen to podcasts, and we're doing a podcast, but I have played music my whole life, and I don't listen to music. I can't.
Yeah, I don't listen to as much music as I should, but I've found some things. Maybe we'll take an episode sometime and
listen to music.
I can just tell people here's what you need to be listening to.
Oh,
because I'm a music snob. So,
okay, I am not. I'll listen to whatever music when somebody's playing it. I'll drink whatever coffee somebody gives me, even if it's bad, because if coffee's black and has caffeine and is semi-hot, it's worth drinking. But I'm not a coffee snob.
Yeah. I get it.
I would love to
It
have
does
you.
what it's supposed to do at that point.
That's true.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear some of your musical selections. And okay, we're going to start. Are you ready to
yeah,
start?
we're like 3 minutes in.
That's a great introduction.
If we just BS for another 27 minutes, we'll be done.
Well, you know how like the best like Netflix series, they have like that opening scene where it sets the
Yeah.
and it's like it could be interesting, could be funny, and then they cut and then it starts the show and you have to watch the trailer and you
Right.
can skip the intro,
Yeah,
whatever. So this is our
right.
3 to 7 minutes of nonsense.
We're now through the intro and we're going to start the podcast.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Do. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes.
This is the podcast by Eric and Sprinkle, and it is Life from the Bottom Rung, the thoughts of a beggarman. And for those of you who tuned in, we're so glad you're listening. Sorry for the last 3.5 minutes. Sometimes you just need to vent and get it out before you can actually be productive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. That was our pre-productive venting session. But we are offering a podcast for those of you who would like to listen, and we are simply trying to share our view of life from the bottom rung. A lot of times people like to give advice as professionals, and we thought, if we're going to offer anything, we're going to offer perspective from the bottom rung of society, because that seems to be where we hang out. But we also have found hope. So what we want to do is offer hope and also ask some hard questions and just have some interesting conversations. So I'm really glad that Sprinkle's here. He brings wisdom and more syllables to what I share, which is really great. And apparently experience with podcasts and listening to music.
Both.
Both.
Yes.
And but not makeup. If you need makeup advice, do not ask Sprinkle. Okay. Anyway, so episode, what are we on?
3.
Yes, episode 3. We haven't gotten very far.
No.
That's right.
And if we keep just BSing, we'll be through episode 3 and still will not have said anything.
I know, but whoever's on the treadmill right now is probably, hopefully, they're within their first mile. 5-minute mile. It might be still in their first mile.
Yeah, I would hope.
Don't quit. Keep pedaling. If you're on the
going.
bike, keep pedaling. There is hope at the end. All right. So today, the theme of our podcast that we thought about talking about was being a safe place. That was our thought for today. And part of what I do with the nonprofit that we run called Beggarman Ministries, our slogan, our phrase, whatever you call it, our mantra, is we really want to create a safe place for people to get back up. But as I was thinking about that idea of being a safe place, I thought we could talk about what does it mean to be a safe place, to find a safe place, and especially for those and some of us who are part of a church community, is the church a safe place? And how are we helping other people feel safe? So that's what I thought we could talk about.
Nice.
Yeah? Okay. And then I have a song that I wrote that I thought we might share if we have time, if we're not just waxing eloquent for too long.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so couple questions, right? What does it look like to create a safe place? And is the church a safe place? And so it's kind of a general discussion. I have some thoughts. I have some ideas. But I wanted to start with this. And then Sprinkle, you can offer your thoughts too. But I was thinking one of the verses from the Bible that I have bring to mind, that I memorize, that I tell myself a lot, is Matthew 11. Because if you're still with us after the first 7 minutes of this chaos that we're speaking, you can tell that my brain goes everywhere. And I need focus. I need something to center me. And so, man, remembering the Bible verses, the scriptures, help me focus on what's true or what I need to remember. And one of those is Matthew 11:28. And it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Learn from me, for I am gentle and humble at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." And I tell myself that one a lot. I need to come to the Lord. I need to come to Jesus, man, because I feel weary. I feel overwhelmed. I feel easily distracted, like today. And so I think that what's interesting is we talk about being a safe place, is that there are things that Jesus says and asks of us, those who want to seek to follow him. And then I would say, big picture, the church. But then I'd say, I'm not sure that we're actually doing the thing that he asked us to do, right? So Jesus says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. And I wonder if we actually do that very well in the church setting. What do you think, Sprinkle?
Do you mean, do we welcome people and offer rest, or do we rest?
Whoa, you just took it another step. I was meaning, do we allow people who are weary?
That's where I thought you were going. I'm pretty jaded about that with regards to a good chunk of the church.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's our first nature, which I think is why it's scriptural.
Yeah? I mean, why he took time to say it?
Yeah, why he took time to say it. Because I haven't found a passage yet that tells me to look out for myself, because it doesn't need to say that, because I'm going to do it.
Ooh, yeah.
Either way. So when we come to stuff like this, I think it's interesting that so often we meaning the church, we really want people to get it right. And I think that's a whole other can of worms with the whole I'd really rather you be right than get rest.
Than feel at rest or feel safe.
Right.
Yeah, man. I think it's interesting because Jesus says, come to me and you will find rest. And I think that in my experience, even sometimes when I'm in a church setting, I sometimes feel anything but rest, because I feel like I have to present myself in a way that's not going to get criticized.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid if I say a bad word, or if I am honest about my failures, that rather than finding a place to feel rest, I'll find judgment. And to be honest, man, as we dive in, can I be real for a second?
Sure.
People, a lot of good friends of mine, and what we do with our nonprofit, man, there's this idea that people don't even, when we talk about being a Christian, right? That word. Let's talk about that word, right? Oftentimes I don't even want to be associated as a Christian.
Right.
Because I think we've forgotten the very core behind what we're supposed to do.
Right.
When Jesus says, hey, come to me who are weary and I'll give you rest. People come to what we call a Christian community, and what they feel is judgment, unwelcome, and you need to change your behavior, right? There's this sense of behavioral change that predisposes your acceptance. You know what I mean?
Right. I think it's really interesting that we use the word Christian now as a label, and in the first century it was called the way.
Oh yeah.
So I think that was more of like a direction, or describing a journey, or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying we are this.
Yeah.
Instead saying we are on this path.
Oh, I like that, man.
Those are two completely different views of what it means to follow.
Yeah, like one seems to be wearing a label, which means, especially in our society today, you are subscribing to a certain set of behaviorally based identity. It's like a program, right? I am a Christian, which means I have to do this and I can't do this. Right. And if you don't do these things, then it's my job to tell you that you're wrong.
Right.
There's a sense of like the behavior, the rules are really what's important behind in the term Christian.
Right.
And what you brought up is, it used to be back in the day when it started, which I love, that idea of it was a journey. It was the Jesus way, or following the way of the Messiah.
Right.
And I would argue that a lot of times in our world today, the people that are Christians are not following the way of the Messiah, because they're anything but offering a safe place.
Right. The other thing that comes to mind is I wonder how much of the behavioral stuff is because we really have an interest in, because the way it's always couched is, well, I want you to do your marriage correctly, because in the end you'll be happier and God will be glorified and whatever. And I go, yeah, but I think what we really want to do is compete for the right and left hand of God like the disciples did by saying, well, my marriage is great. Yours is messed up, but mine is great. So I did note that I was kind of jaded about this topic, right?
Yeah, you are, and that's what I love about you, man, because I want us to be able to be honest and real.
And I should say that it's not everywhere. I've found pockets that are absolutely not any of this.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
But there's a good chunk of right now of it being a club where if you don't have the secret handshake, you're not getting in.
Yeah. Well, and on the other side of that, lest we fall into the same trap, which I have done, I have to admit that I don't have all the answers. And it's really easy for me to meet somebody, and if they don't agree or they don't believe or they don't act in the same way that I think it looks like to truly be a follower of Jesus, then I have this intrinsic initial gut reaction to want to try to fix it.
Yeah.
And I have to recognize that and notice and pay attention to that and go, man, what is it in me that has this like need to correct?
Right.
I'm not sure that that's what Jesus meant when he said that we should love one another as I have loved you. I'm not sure he meant go out and correct everybody. What I want you to do is go police everybody's behavior. Like I'm not, you know, and so admittedly, man, from the beginning, like you said, people that were knew it as the way, and then as it got formed, I think, now I'm not a theology guy, so don't quote me on this, although it's being recorded. So
yeah, everybody out there, please quote this.
Now I'm going to figure out what I was going to say. Oh, but when the church first started, it was all about the new life, right? And freedom in Christ. And then what happened, man, was that people said, oh, that means if you're going to follow and be free in Christ, then you have to do this. And then Jesus would to the people around him, the religious people around him, were like, no, it's actually not about the rules. It's about loving this or honoring this person, or, you know. And as soon as we feel like we've got the box of what we understand is right, I feel like Jesus goes, okay, cool, you got it, you understand? Okay, now watch this. And he throws in something else, and we're like, wait, that doesn't fit.
Right. Yeah.
And so we have to be careful. I have to be careful to not fall into the same trap of feeling comfortable with what I believe and then being afraid of anything different.
Yeah. And the other thing that's interesting to me about the way some of that language in the first century, the language of new creation. And if I think about that, like because I have to think about things in dumb ways for my brain to get around it. The idea of new creation. So your wife paints.
Yep.
Has anybody ever come up to her and gone like, that painting is outstanding?
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, oh, thank you. And they say, no, I was talking to the painting. Right?
Oh, right.
So if we're a new creation, then why do you think so much of yourself?
Ooh, dude, that's a cool analogy.
It's a real weird thing. It's
Yeah. No, so you talk about the painting, right, and how people appreciate a painting but they say to my wife, who's an artist, that's an amazing painting, and because she created it, right? And as we talk about being a safe place, so often people who might walk into church or into a community of faith, if they don't follow the same beliefs or even talk in a certain way, or might be smoking a certain thing, or show up drunk, or might be transgender, or might be in whatever way, I'm going to bring in all these crazy subjects, right? When people that are different than what the established church believes you should look like to follow Jesus, then what happens is they feel judged, and the church forgets. I think the church, and me, I forget sometimes, the person that I don't agree with, that looks different, believes different, that they still hold value as a created being from our almighty creator who gave them life and breath. And we so easily demonize people that we don't agree with, or we don't like, or they don't behave like us. And so part of what I'm wrestling with, and my challenge to those listening, and as we think about this idea, how do we create a safe place? And too often, man, especially in Western church, and I'm going to talk about my friend Corey in the Yakima Nation. If you're listening, Corey, what's up? Yeah. But too often, we live by a behaviorally based identity, and the church only values you if you eventually get to the same belief. You are only valuable because we're going to be able to convince you to believe like us, or convince you to change your behavior to fit within our rule structure of what it means to be a Christian. And I think that we forget that if somebody doesn't even agree with us, that they still hold value as a created painting by the artist who is God Almighty, who made them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we forget, man. We go straight to fixing or saving, when I'm not sure Jesus even said, hey, I want you to go and save them. Right? He said go to make disciples. Right. I'm not sure that meant go and make sure you change your behavior. Right? He said show people my way. Show them what it looks like to feel valued by the Creator. Right.
I don't, that I went to an art show that your wife did a while back, and some things jumped out at me more than others. Mm-hmm. I didn't go up and talk to her when I got a chance to and say, wow, I really like these 3 pieces. The rest of them are garbage.
Yeah, right.
The ones that weren't necessarily my thing, they just weren't my thing.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
There's no less talented. It's not like she forgot how to paint that day or whatever. They just didn't speak to me.
Yeah. Well, she if she was here, she would probably say, no, some of those sucked. Sorry, sweetheart. No. I mean, you know what I mean? She'd be like, yeah, sure. But no, and I mentioned my friend Corey. So Corey Greaves runs an organization in the Yakima Nation in the Northwest United States. He is one of my heroes. And if anybody listening want to check it out, go and check out Mending Wings dot something. I'm not sure what it is, but Mending Wings is an organization run by Corey Greaves, and their purpose is to mend the wings that were broken of the Native American youth of the Yakima Nation, and it's powerful. But one of the things that Corey talks about a lot is following the Jesus way. And he uses that wording, that verbiage, that with the students and even with me, and when he visits different churches, and he talks about following, rather than being Christian based, he talks about following the Jesus way, and that's really been helpful for me to frame it in the way of it's less about, like you said, a label of like I am this, a Christian. But rather say, no, I'm a follower, or seeking to be a follower of the Jesus way. Yeah. In a way that really frees us to understand that we don't have it all together, or we don't fully know. And I would argue we're never gonna. Right. As soon as the church or we think, hey, no, this is the way that you have to follow. Then like I said, it says my ways are higher than your ways. God's gonna come in and destroy our sense of belief system of like, no, we got it. And he's going to go, oh, yeah? Let me show you something different that you've never seen.
Right. That's mendingwings.net.
There you go. Mendingwings.net, N-E-T. So, yeah.
And, speaking to that, because I spent a good bit of time on the Navajo and Apache reservations. Yeah. There's a lot of, you can't have your native culture stuff and be Christian. Yep. And I'm like, really? Was... Hillsong was in the New Testament? I didn't realize that Novation keyboards were a first century thing. I didn't. I'm sorry, I'm being a real smart ass.
No, dude, I love it. You're right.
There's a big giant don't push that button, and you pushed it, so it's your fault.
That's right. No. I mean, full on, when we talk about being a safe place, I mean, if you would ask our Native American brothers and sisters, for example, do you feel like the church in America today has been a safe place or is a safe place for those who need to feel loved and valuable and to admit when they need help, to who feel weary, who feel beat down, who feel like they're at the bottom rung of life? And I would argue that most of our Native American brothers and sisters, and maybe we should have Corey come on our show someday.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But they would say, no, hell no. Right? I mean, because there's this deep ingrained sense of right and wrong, black and white. This is the way it has to be in order to be a Christian. And breaking out of that and allowing space to express faith or belief in a way that doesn't fit our mold feels so scary. Because we, I think, are in an unhealthy way, hold onto a belief that it's our job to be the police of the way other people believe, or to make sure that we are the ones holding to the integrity of the journey of following Jesus in other people. And I'm not sure that's healthy, you know. And it creates in people the inability to feel truly safe. Right? And I would argue, if you would ask me, in fact, go and ask me, hey, what would you say it looks like to create a safe place?
Hey, Eric, what would you say it looks like to create a safe place?
Nice. I'm so glad you asked, Sprinkle. You're awesome. Everybody, Sprinkle's awesome. Man, I think that a safe space is nothing more and nothing less than simply allowing anyone, whatever that person is, to share what they're going through, to be brutally honest, and to find a place where they can share and say what they're struggling with, where they're at, what they're doing, without being afraid that they will get kicked out, get judged.
Right.
Because we were never created to walk alone. But because we so often put the rules as the primary thing that we address in people's lives that we don't agree with, or behavior is the first thing we address, then what we do is we draw lines and people don't feel safe. And I was a pastor in a church for 22 years until last May when I started Beggarman Ministries, right? And I never really found a safe place until I joined our recovery group.
Yeah.
And we met in order to have a safe place. And I could say things in that group that they would have gotten me fired.
Yeah.
And because I was a pastor, and in our Christian culture, pastors are supposed to be above mistakes.
Right.
And so I told our recovery group things that would have got me fired. But I needed a safe place to share so that I could really, truly find healing and not hide and not keep those secrets. And people hide from the church because they don't feel safe, because they're afraid they're going to get judged or kicked out or told, nope, you're not quite there. You're not, you know what I mean? And
right.
So anyway, that's you can tell I'm passionate about this, because it's what we do with our ministry, man. We try to create a safe place for every dude who comes into our program, regardless, and say, dude, we're going to love you no matter what until you can love yourself. We're going to love you until you can love yourself. And we want to create a safe place for you to have a chance to heal, to find value and hope. And that only comes if we let go of our preconceived ideas of what you're supposed to do.
Right.
To be worthy of that love.
Yeah. I have a fantastic off-color joke about this topic that I'll tell you after we quit recording.
Can you record it and then we'll decide whether we should put it in or not?
Sure.
Yeah.
So
here we go. This might or might not make the cut. I hope it makes the cut. Okay, go ahead.
So there's a pastor, and he's at this church that's very strict on all these rules, and there's also a choir director there, and man, it's just chemistry, and they just both really like each other, and they develop a friendship, and things keep kind of heating up.
Between the pastor and the choir director?
Yeah. Right.
Is the choir director a female?
Yes.
Pastor's a male?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter to the story.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
So
I guess it doesn't matter.
And they eventually they just can't contain it anymore, and they just start going at it one day.
What does that mean?
Well, like making out. And eventually the pastor goes, he said, we need to lay down. And she goes, really? He said, yeah, if somebody comes in right now, they're going to think we're dancing.
Is that a Baptist joke?
Yes.
For you Baptist listeners, sorry.
I wasn't going to say that. But
you can say that.
Now,
now
that we're there. Wait, we do need to cut that part. So.
Yeah, okay. That's funny. That's funnier than I thought it was going to be. Okay, can I rattle off some thoughts of things that Jesus said to those who are following him that I'm not sure we're doing?
Sure.
For those who are listening to ponder, like, what does this look like for you in your world and in your sphere, wherever you find yourself right now, driving, walking, listening, at work. But here's things that I think Jesus said that I'm not sure that the church or Christians are actually doing the things that he asked, right? Yeah, so a couple thoughts that I have, right? I'm just going to rattle them off. But Jesus says, come to me and you will find rest. Now, when someone comes to us in trouble, in need, who looks different, smells different, believes different, acts different, do we allow space for them to really, truly be able to rest and share? Or do we too quickly put our behaviorally based programs in front of the ability to create safety? Second one, Jesus says, love one another as I have loved you. And I wonder, when I look at the way Jesus has loved me, he has called me his child. He has listened to me moan over and over, and he understands my heart and has never made me feel less than his beloved, right? And I believe lies sometimes, but how are we sharing the true love of Jesus in a way that allows people to be safe? The way that we have been loved, we forget, right? Because maybe I haven't cussed out a driver next to me in the last 3 weeks. I haven't really done anything wrong. But we forget, man, dude, each of us have come from a place where we were brought up from what we don't deserve into a place of hope because of the love and the value of Christ. And we forget that when we don't agree with someone, right?
Yeah.
So how are we sharing what we've been given? Jesus says, forgive and let it go. Whew. Do we really do that, right? How often do we hold grudges on people that hurt us? And I speak that to myself. Jesus says, don't judge, let my Father, right? My Father alone is the judge. And why do we feel like we have to take on that role of judging, especially those in authority? People listening, I had to choose to try no longer to fall underneath this view that you have to be perfect to be a pastor. I was one of the most, what would you call it? Outside the box?
Yes.
Rule breaking?
All the above.
Pastor, yeah. Because I said, man, I don't want to just live my life to please a set of rules, right? And I think sometimes following Jesus means you got to know what rules to break. So anyway, and then the other thought was, if you read the scripture, Jesus targeted, like we talked about, he got angry. He got pretty cutting with his words. And you look at that, and almost every time he did that, who was that toward?
Yeah.
It was toward the religious, churchy people of the day. And man, if we're not careful, we become the religious, churchy people. And we have to constantly say, what in this situation, how are we showing the love of Jesus and creating a safe place? Because if someone in our midst that we meet doesn't first feel valuable and safe, then I think they will never hear anything but criticism and rejection, and the voices says, I'm not accepted. And so our job is to first show them that they are safe and valuable. So those are a few things that for you to ponder as you listen. Jesus talks about hypocrisy. He talks about warning against focusing more on worldly pleasures and possessions. And man, how oftentimes do we get too wrapped up in what we have?
Yeah.
Anyway, those are just some thoughts about
I love it. Yeah.
Being safe. How do we do that? And truly trying to create a safe place for those that we meet, and in a church setting as well. So
nice.
What do you think?
I love it. Let's do a tune.
Do you have time? Do we have time to do some?
Yeah, barely.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna play a song that I wrote back when I had more hair. At least on the top of my head. My chin hair's longer, but it's called Abba Father, and it speaks of the love of God to us, and that he really is hope for the jaded. And my friend Sprinkle, you said you come from a jaded perspective.
Yes.
So maybe this one's for you.
Great.
So this song is called Abba Father, and I hope you like it. Abba Father, Abba Father, tender mercy, boundless love, gentle healer, faithful one, hide me in your mighty arms, Abba Father. You are home to the wanderer, love for the lonely, and hope for the jaded, and a feast for the hungry. You are wings for the broken, joy for the wounded, and rest for the weary. I find peace, for you love me. Abba Father, Abba Father, gentle healer, boundless love, tender mercy, faithful one, and hide me in your mighty arms, Abba Father. You are home to the wanderer, love for the lonely, and hope for the jaded, and a feast for the hungry. You are wings for the broken, joy for the wounded, and rest for the weary. I find peace, for you love me. So Abba Father, Abba Father, tender mercy, boundless love, gentle healer, faithful one, and hide me in your mighty arms, Abba Father. So friends, as we finish our time today, thanks for listening. It's super cool that you would tune in and listen to us. If you have thoughts or suggestions or definitely criticisms, we are totally open to that because we really don't know what we're doing. We'd love to hear from you. If you have comments or ideas or thoughts about how to create a safe place, and if there's people in your life who have been wounded by a church community who claim the name of Jesus and in his name do some of the most shitty things ever, I would say maybe share this with them. And to those of you who have been hurt by the policing of those who wear the name Christian, I am sorry. I am sorry. I believe that we were created to show value to one another, and so often we miss the mark, and we so easily focus on what's comfortable for us. And so I don't say that in judgment or blame. I say that in like, I get it. I understand. It's really hard to remember who the real enemy is. And so for those of you who have been wounded and feel jaded by the church or by this journey of faith or by those who wear the name Christian, I'm sorry. And I would just say, man, I would I would say go past the name Christian and go to the Creator and ask Him to make Himself clear to you, to speak His value to you. And I would hope and pray that you would find people that can speak that value to you and give you that safe place. I am only here today in my journey of life because I was given a safe place in my relationship with Christ, but also in a healthy community that allowed me to share, and that I had to choose to be honest and not be afraid of getting kicked out or judged. So I hope and pray that those of you listening are able to do that, to find a safe place and to create a safe place for others. Be thinking, who are those in your life that need a safe place, that need a listening ear, and what are the rules or the preconceived notions of what it means to follow Jesus that maybe, just maybe, all of us need to consider, that maybe we don't have the full corner of the truth and we need to tread lightly, live with tolerance, live to love and value those that God created, which is each and every human on this planet. So may safe places be found in your journey. And until our paths cross again, next podcast, this is Eric and Sprinkle signing off with Life from the Bottom Rung.